Welcome to the Microchip Is podcast. Join your host, Mike Maynard, as he learns about the technologies, products, and people that make microchip technology what it is today.
Welcome to the Microchip Is podcast. Today, I'm finding out why Microchip is storage. I'm joined by Bill Rollender. Bill is the Senior Manager of Product Marketing at Microchip. Welcome to the podcast, Bill. Can you tell me a little bit about your role and the products you deal with at Microchip, please?
Sure. I'm glad to be here, Mike. I work in the Data Center Solutions group at Microchip, and I lead the product management team. My group focuses on four main product lines. We have PCI Express switches, solid state disk drive controllers, CXL memory controllers, and storage system controllers, which we're going to talk about more today, I believe. Microchip also provides many other products that go into server solutions in the data center, including security products, power management solutions, timing products, and connectivity solutions. One area that we've seen some pretty significant growth in data center is in the AI market space. And we offer products specifically targeted to AI accelerated servers. So, in general, our products support the growing demand for data center systems, ensuring that they can meet the increasing performance and connectivity requirements in today's markets.
I mean, that's a great introduction, Bill. And I love the way that, you've highlighted this vast range of products that Microchip has. I mean, today, I think what we want to do is learn a bit more about Microchip in the storage market. So can you talk a little bit about how storage in the data center fits into Microchip's overall company strategy?
So Microchip has, they call them megatrend areas, where they're focusing the company on what they consider areas of significant growth. Two that are very pertinent to my role are data center and artificial intelligence. They're two of the key megatrends. Some of the other ones include the automotive market, e-mobility, Internet of Things, edge computing, and connectivity. But for the data center group, we're seeing significant growth, and AI is really driving a lot of growth in that market.
So it's interesting. I mean, obviously, AI is one of the hottest trends, driving storage. Are there other things that are changing in the data center market? I mean, presumably as a mega trend, Microchip is seeing, quite significant disruption in this market.
I think one of the major trends, or maybe we should say like debates that are going on in the market, is where to use solid state drives versus hard disk drives. And the SSDs have much better performance, but, they cost a lot more. HDDs, are cheaper, but they have lower IOPS performance. And then they have the mechanical element with them. So, there's possibly a greater chance of mechanical failure with the HDD. So there's a lot of debate about where to use the different drive types. You mentioned artificial intelligence. That's really driving a lot of the innovation in the market, and artificial intelligence systems, they need fast access to the data sets they're working on. So, we're seeing more SSD usage in some of the AI systems, particularly around the training portion of the AI workload. This is driving greater sales in like all flash arrays, or even hybrid storage arrays where they have a front end with the SSDs to get the performance, kind of like a hot tier. And then the back end is hard drives where they can take advantage of the high capacity, low cost, and they buffer the performance through those SSDs. So, it's changing the landscape of what type of systems, that are being produced. But additionally, we're just continuing to see a lot of growth, both in the capacity of the systems and then also in the number of systems, really driven by the increased amount of storage that these AI workloads use, both associated with the large language models and the data sets that are required to train the AI system.
I mean, that's fascinating. I think, a lot of what we see, particularly in the media about AI in the data center, is all around processing and a lot around the actual performance in the processing side. But you're actually highlighting the need for storage and how storage impacts performance. So that's fascinating. But for me, I mean, I think there's perhaps other things. One of the things I've heard a lot, and actually in this podcast series, heard people from Microchip talking about is security. And I wonder, people obviously talk about security in the data center. Is that actually impacting the storage market as well?
Yeah, security is very important, like you've been hearing in a lot of these podcasts. It's very important in the storage ecosystem as well. And there's new requirements that are coming in to prepare for increasing resilience of those systems against, outside attacks. And then there's device security within the storage system. One of those things is like attestation, where you're identifying, that you're a known good entity and that your components within the system are known good products and can authenticate themselves. So things like secure boot and attestation of the firmware, they've been in use for a while, but we're seeing kind of new requirements come into the market to increase the security, things like post-quantum encryption protocols. And we're seeing that really driven worldwide, not just in the US, but around, the world. And these types of things really increase both the security of the system, and then that provides greater security of the overall storage system within the data center.
I mean, that's fascinating. It sounds like, there's a lot going on in the market. So perhaps we can change tack a bit and actually talk about Microchip and your role. So can you explain a little bit about Microchip's storage portfolio and the kind of products you offer?
Yeah, we have kind of three main product lines that are involved with storage. The first is our RAID controller and adapter product line. And I think we're going to deep dive into that a little bit later in the podcast, so I won't really cover that in detail here. The second one is solid state drive controllers. I mentioned that earlier. These are the controllers that actually sit on the SSD. And, our latest product here is the FlashTech NVMe 5016. It's a PCI Express Gen 5 based controller, and it supports all of the latest flash memory technologies to provide a cutting edge, high performance SSD. One of the kind of key benefits that we offer is a flexible programming model with firmware. And this gives developers a lot of control over the performance optimizations of the SSD to meet, kind of the demanding workloads that we're seeing in the data center. The next product we have is the CXL memory controller. CXL over the past few years has gotten a lot of attention, kind of for providing increased memory capability within the server, connecting to, a CXL port. So it's like adding another tier of memory into the server. And, as we've been talking about these AI workloads, one of the things that they require is very high memory bandwidth. And so by adding CXL, it's a way to increase the total, both total memory capacity of the system, but also the memory bandwidth that can be provided into the server. So we have a CXL controller family. The latest product is the Smart Memory Controller 2100. It supports the CXL 2.0 spec and, supports both by 8 and by 16 host connection. And it provides support for 2 channels of either DDR4 or DDR5 memory. And, some of the typical applications for CXL that we see, obviously AI and machine learning, but also high performance compute and any other applications that really require, increasing the number of memory channels to deliver that bandwidth and capacity.
And that's interesting to see. CXL seems to be, beginning to take off now and becoming really successful. I think, as you mentioned, though, perhaps one of the things that would be interesting is to talk about RAID. It's the big element of data center storage, but you alluded to it earlier in the interview that actually there's a huge range of requirements in the data center. So, whether it's a hard drive array, SAS, SATA, ME standards. I mean, how does Microchip approach this? Do you try and support all these kind of different demands and requirements in RAID controllers?
Yeah, so the need, for RAID really stems from those mechanical storage elements in the hard disk drives. The need for a protection layer of redundancy to mitigate against any drive failure so that the customers, can maintain access to their data. And, the protocols have evolved and changed over the years, SATA and SAS. And then, with the NVMe SSDs coming in more recently, through all of those different drive kind of types and applications, RAID really has remained kind of the de facto protection methodology for the storage subsystem. We sell products both at the silicon controller level and also at the host-based adapter level. At the silicon level, we have kind of two families of products. One, kind of our highest volume product, it supports just the hard disk drive, the SAS and SATA products. That's our Smart Rock 3100 and 2100 product families. The benefit of that is by just supporting SAS and SATA, you can have kind of a lower price point, more cost-effective solution. But as NVMe drives have come into the market, and we've talked a little bit about where they fit in some of the data center solutions, and with AI demanding that higher performance, we have come out with a controller that supports what we call tri-mode, basically SATA, SAS, and then the NVMe drives. And that is our 3200 product family. It's a Gen 4 by 16 PCI Express Connect with 32 tri-mode drive ports. And so it can support 24 gig SAS, 6 gig SATA, PCI Gen 4 based NVMe drives. And so that product gives customers, the flexibility to support hard drives, SSD drives, combination of both, and really brings that SSD capability into the product portfolio. And then at the adapter level, we provide host-based adapters of all of our silicon products with a standard PCIe form factor. And we have a wide range of cards that support different port counts, cache sizes, different host interfaces, different feature sets. And we basically have three levels of card solutions. One is the 1100, 1200 series, which just provides basic drive connectivity. And then we have the 2100, 2200 series, which is what we call a smart HBA, and that has drive connectivity with basic RAID. And then we have our 3200 series, which is our smart RAID adapter. And that supports the full enterprise RAID support with, battery backup of the cache, and supports all the different RAID, RAID 0, 1, 10, 5, 50, 6, and 60 with hardware acceleration. So we have a full range of solutions for however the customer wants to implement, whether they want to build their own cards or use a turnkey solution. And then if they want to tailor solutions, to an HDD only solution or towards something that supports SSDs in addition to hard drives.
It's incredible, like the range of products you've got. And also the thing that's really struck me is the number of new products you've talked about. So the amount of innovation that's going on at Microchip. But I know storage tends to be quite a conservative market. They tend to like products that have got a long track record in the market. Microchip's clearly innovating, but how do you answer the question about, your track record? What's your heritage in this storage market?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, one of the things that is very valuable to companies is the data that they are generating, right? They don't want anything to happen, have any problems with their data that is stored away, whether it's, a banking company. Obviously, you don't want your financial records to be misplaced or even, photographs and videos that are stored in the social media applications. So Microchip has been in the RAID and storage market for over 25 years. And so we have many generations of both RAID controller silicon and host-based adapter solutions that go into the market. And, we've participated in a lot of the specification generation of the different, drive connectivity standards and the NVMe spec. And we're a member of the SCSI Trade Association and have really been part of the whole serial attached SCSI evolutions. And those products have been, in the market and used by a variety of different customers in mission critical applications. And so having that track record with customers where we've provided solutions for many years and, have successfully provided data protection to those customers, they have trust in our solutions, knowing that both the products can provide a highly resilient solution, but also that Microchip has been around in the market for a long time and is going to be there for them to support their products, both the ones that are in the market and the ones that they're going to be bringing to market in the future.
That's incredible. I mean, it really sounds like Microchip is storage. I feel like we've covered an awful lot here. Is there something that you could say that would sum up like the most important thing to remember about Microchip and the storage market?
Yeah, I think the summary is that trust that we just talked about. We've been in the storage market for 25 years or more. We've provided several generations of product providing kind of best-in-class RAID protection for data systems. And so we have a proven capability for ensuring reliable data protection and retrieval. And so customers can trust Microchip for storing their most vital asset, which is their company data.
I love it. That's a great summary. We always like to ask a question of all our guests about engineering advice. So what's the best engineering advice that you could give to listeners?
So, in my career, I've been involved with many customers selecting products and building their systems around them. And a lot of times, the engineers really focus on the features and the performance and the capabilities of the product itself. And of course, the pricing and things like that. But I think, equal in importance is sort of the after sale technical support to get the product actually into production and ramped up. And Microchip has a very strong technical and applications marketing team, that we deploy to help customers get into production and get their products up and running. And, in a lot of post-sales discussions with customers, many have noted, that our support is a real strength and has been really exceptional. So my advice is don't just look at the product kind of speeds and feeds and look at the whole company that can provide the product, but also the support and the design help that will allow you to get to market quickly and get your product into production quickly. And so that the customer can get to revenue as quickly as possible with their product.
Great advice. I love that. And should be really reassuring to potential customers for Microchip. I'm sure people will have really enjoyed this podcast, and there's a lot of information here. If listeners are interested, how can they learn more about Microchip solutions for storage and keep up to date with future releases?
So to keep up to date on the Microchip storage solutions, they can go to our website, microchip.com. There's a product selector there, and so they can hit products, and then under products, there's a storage section. So that will take them right to the storage product lines and all the latest and greatest, product updates that we have. For customers that we're doing design wins with and actually, are in design, they can sign up for kind of the next level of details of the different products and get all of the kind of latest spec updates and those sorts of things. If anyone wants to contact me, I'm up on LinkedIn, Bill Rollender, and you can send me a direct message on LinkedIn if you're having any trouble or issues with contacting Microchip through the website or through the sales channel. Just drop me a DM. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn.
That's incredibly kind. Bill, thank you. It's been a fascinating conversation, Bill. I really appreciate your time. And thank you for explaining to me and the listeners why Microchip is storage.
Thanks a lot, Mike. It was enjoyable talking with you today.
Thanks for listening to the Microchip Is podcast. Please follow us on your favorite podcast platform to keep learning about the many technologies, products, and people that make Microchip what it is today. Look out for our upcoming Microchip Is podcasts and our new Beyond the Microchip podcast series.